You're listening to an Anazao Ministries podcast.
How far would you go to protect yourself and your family? Well, for Marty and Wendy Bird, the answer is whatever it takes. How far is too far? Well, Wendy and Marty Bird let us know and revealed to us that can't go far enough. They will go to whatever it takes to save their own butts and their own lives and their own family. Welcome to Systematic Geekology. We are your priests to the geeks, which just means that we are these, I guess you say, guides and ministers and people and humans who geek out on a lot of different things to help guide you and curate the things we geek out on, and then help us go a little deeper into the philosophical and theological nature that these shows reveal to us. And this is not a bait and switch. We are legitimate geeks, and we happen to have two guests today who happen to be priests, who happen to be ordained ministers, and and we're here to guide you through a different kind of TV show, a different kind of streaming, bingeable TV. Usually on Systematic Geekology, we're talking things like comics and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and Star Wars and the MCU. Well, today we have a different kind of show, and it's a little bit of a darker show. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for those who have a weak stomach. They go to pretty hardcore, dark areas of life, and it can get pretty gory, it can get pretty violent, and you ask yourself, oh my gosh, what are these people going through, and why are they doing that? And so today, we're talking about Ozark, that Netflix bingeable #1 TV show that just wrapped up with season 4, and Kino and I are here to talk about it. And you may ask yourself, why are two men of God suggesting that you watch a show that's really may not be of God? And so here we are to talk about this and guide you through it and give you our hot take and why we think you should watch it if your heart and stomach can take it, and perhaps maybe you should steer away from it if those things make you queasy. But I am Will Rose. I am a Lutheran minister here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I geek out on a lot of different things. And my wife and I watched all of Ozark and couldn't wait for the next episode every single time. And we loved it, even though it disturbed us. So we were geeking out on that. And I also shared that I geeked out the other night. We had a lunar eclipse, and we had a clear night sky here in North Carolina, not a cloud in the sky, and went out. Our family loves cosmology and the universe and planets and stars and constellation, and go watch shooting stars and love thinking about how grand and magnificent our universe is. And so to go about on our back porch and take out some high-powered binoculars, we watched the moon go from full to lunar eclipse back to full again, and it was super fun. And we geeked out hard on that. Kino, who are you? What are you geeking out on?
So I'm Kino Kennedy, and I'm also an ordained elder in the United Methodist. Oh Lord, please forgive me. The AME Zion Church, which is
there you go.
Methodist Church in Cornelius, North Carolina. And I am currently geeking out on Star Wars. I'm still on this Lego Star Wars.
Nice.
I'm trying to do the 100% now. I done beat the whole game. But it's a little extensive than I thought it was. Just a lot of nuances and little stuff that you got to do. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But I'm still doing it. I got to the point where I had to invite the kids to help me, because I'm like, I'm just tired. It's just trying to find these little Kyber bricks, mini kits, and all that other stuff that you got to Google and look for, and YouTube. Yeah, that's why. That's why I am.
Well, it's cool that you're bringing your family into it. You said you bring your kids, and they're helping you out with the game.
I have to. Now, funny enough, I got to tell you this real quick. So
Sure.
I bought the game for myself, okay? Because the boys, we have an Xbox, 2 Xboxes, and a PlayStation. And my oldest son has a PlayStation. He was like, "Oh man, I would love to have Lego Star Wars." I was like, at first I was like, I wasn't gonna buy it because I done played it, but he was like, "No, it's gonna be expensive. It's open world." Okay, so I bought it, and I bought it the week before I went to Dallas, Texas, And
Mhm.
while I was gone, my wife let me know saying the boys been playing the game without you. I said I kind of figured that, but as long as they're not playing under my profile, we're cool.
Ah, there you go. Not as
Yeah,
long as they're not messing up your continuity in the game, then they can
correct.
create their own, right?
They can. It's always open to everybody. It's always open to everybody.
Well, it's
But
funny that you mentioned like the nuance and decisions you make and go in different turns. You know, these video games, again, it can be like a parable or a way to share like how we
oh,
navigate our own lives. And the
yeah,
show we're getting ready to talk about, different roads you go down and different decisions you make within these games and within life have impact of what the future looks like, right?
yeah. Listen. This show is not for the faint of heart. Let's just put it
Hmm.
out there.
Hmm.
However, the Bible is not for the faint of heart either. Okay. Will pointed out that this show is like a rated R. I think it is rated R. I would
Yeah.
say the Bible is NC-17. Okay,
Mm.
there are some gory. Well, it's not all gory, but it's some stuff that make you wonder. Wow, is this in the Bible for real? Yes, it is in the Bible. We talking
Right.
infidelity. We talking possible rape. We talking killing. We talking lying. We talking thievery. It is almost better than Days of Our Lives.
Right. Corruption, how power corrupts, going after money, politics, what you it will take to save your life or the life of others. It reveals, it's apocalyptic in the sense that it reveals what's truly important to you or not. The Greek word apocalypse, you've heard me say it before on other episodes, literally means to unveil. So when we talk
Mhm.
about apocalypse, we don't mean like zombies and robots and aliens. What we're really saying is there's the big revelation or unveiling of what's important to you. And that's what these stories do. And so, we tease and we say, like, why would two holy men of God watch such an unholy show? And as Kino said, like, yeah, well, have you read the Bible? We oftentimes we read the children's Bible or very
Mhm.
kind of sanitized. We're in kind of first
Or
grade
better, or
Sunday.
better, or better yet, Will. I don't know if you know, but there's actually it's called the Action Bible. It is a
Yeah, I have it. I
yeah, I
have it.
have it too. I have it too.
Mhm.
I bought it. I was like, oh gosh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel. The Action
It's
Bible
graphic
is a
novel.
graphic
Yeah,
novel
yeah.
of the Bible. And there's another friend of ours of the show, and who've, I guess, gone back and forth and talked to some, is the word for word of the Bible, a graphic novel or comic about the Bible. And yeah, I mean, first grade Sunday school, they're going to watch Disney shows and Veggie
Hmm.
Tales, and you want to present
Hmm.
the Bible in a way that tell story that way, but that's not at the heart of what's at the Bible. And so let's level up, y'all. Let's level up and look at the Bible as it is, and
As it is.
unsanitized, and as honest as it is about the human condition and what humans will do and the effects it have in our relationships with one another and systems of power and corruption, and how that relates to God. And that in the midst of all that, here, look at us, two ministers already getting theological right at the
Already,
very beginning.
already,
That in
already.
the midst of all that, God wins. In the midst of that, God is guiding and leading and luring God's people to what is right and what is holy, to the end where God's kingdom comes down to us and a river heals all nations. But before we get real theological, we got to talk about Ozark, this
Yes.
show. And so, Kino, how did you discover this show and what got you watching it?
So I discovered Ozarks in the height of House of Cards. So
Okay.
I'm a huge
Another G-rated show, right?
right, right. And so waiting for House of Cards, the new season to drop, I was like, okay, I'll try to watch this Ozark thing. What is this Ozark stuff? It was like, oh, I did not know where the Ozarks was. I didn't know there was a place called the Ozarks for real.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, this just and from the first episode
Mm,
until the first
mm.
season, first episode until the last season or the last episode, I could not get enough. And I have to admit that Ozarks and House of Cards are the only two series that I will rewatch the previous seasons to be prepared for the new season to drop.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good story. Yeah, I'll confess too that I got out my phone and looked at the Google Maps to see where the Ozark lakes are in relation to Chicago, where they go back and forth, and
Right, right, right.
where in the world and the country is this? I heard about it, but my geography is not that great, so I had to look up my Google Maps too and see where is this and where are they. But yeah, I was similar. The show that I watched was Breaking Bad,
Mm,
and again, hard R. Not for the faint of heart, but in terms of like how it helps you see the world and the decisions you make and whether you break bad or not, and how little things make a big difference if you're not
yes,
on the right track.
yes.
Talk about a cautionary tale. Um, and when I finished that show, I was like, well, what? I
What's
felt like all shows are done. Like, okay, I think I've peaked at all TV because it was so good and so intriguing to me.
yeah.
I peaked. I was like, what am I going to do next? I don't know. I'll keep rewatching Star Wars. Well, there's a student in our campus ministry, a senior who's getting ready to graduate, and we had talked to her a few times, and we talked about Breaking Bad here and there and other shows we watch, and she goes, oh, Pastor Will, if you like Breaking Bad, you're probably like Ozark, and it's not as bad as Breaking Bad. I really don't feel like it's as bad as Breaking Bad.
Oh
And I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, I'll have to check this out. Well, halfway through the first episode of Ozark, I said, good night, Julie. You lied to me. It
right,
is it
right,
is
right,
worse
right.
than Breaking Bad. But in terms of the story and the hooks in
Yeah.
that first pilot that got me watching it, yeah, as we said, infidelity, drug cartels, murder, doing what you can to get out of dying, to save your family,
Save your
you
family.
squirming your way to safety or doing whatever it takes to just live another day. That's what this show does. And then that first episode with them in the Ozarks with this like kind of backdrop cool Radiohead song playing, that I was like, oh man, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
strapping in.
yeah.
So Ozark is a TV show on Netflix. All four
Yes.
seasons are on Netflix. The first three seasons, each season has 10 episodes,
Hmm.
and then the fourth season has it broke it up into two parts. It's part one was 7 episodes, and part two was another seven episodes, and that just dropped and wrapped up. So you can see the whole series, one through four of the seasons, and you're in for a ride
A
if you go
huge,
down that road.
huge ride. Huge ride. Because unlike some folks, I watched it as soon as they dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't wait until somebody told me. I caught it on the beginning and had to wait until they dropped the new seasons just to be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? How am I going to move on with my life? Because I was
Right.
going
What are you going to do with your spare time between
right,
now and the next episode?
right, right,
We all have those shows that we're like, we're just waiting. We're just
right,
waiting for the next spring or next fall. When is the next season of The Mandalorian going to drop?
right.
All
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But yeah, I think I caught it season one, and it just we binged it and then had to wait for season two. And of
Hmm.
course, as soon as it's done, I go to Google and I'm like, when is season two going to drop? When is season three? Like March of 2017. Like, okay, I gotta wait. And in the same way with this latest one. And then when they said that they're going to drop this final season in two parts, there's going to be 14 episodes instead of 10, but they would drop 7 episodes, let you catch your breath a little bit, and let you go to therapy and talk to your friends.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to give you time to talk with your friends and process this and do some group therapy, and then we'll drop the final seven episodes. So here we are, two ministers. If you watch the show, you need some therapy, you need some pastoral counseling, you need the help thinking through this, then we are here
Here.
for you. So we haven't talked any spoilers yet.
No.
We're going to hop into the season here in just a moment. So if you haven't watched it, now's your chance to hit pause
Please.
and then go watch all 44 episodes, and then you can come back and listen to us talk about it. But Kino, if you were going to set this up for our folks who are listening who haven't seen this show, how would you, without spoilers, do your best without spoilers, how would you summarize this show and then convince them why they should watch it if their heart and stomach can take it?
Okay. So if you want to watch a show to look at the dynamics of a family, a nuclear family, a husband and wife, two kids, and how the choices of each individual in their family impacts the whole entire family unit, watch this show. If you want to understand more so about uh, grief,
Mm.
um, sibling positions, mental health. Even though it's about drugs and drug cartels, that is just an afterthought. It's almost like Walking Dead, where the zombies are just there. And so,
Yes.
yeah, the
Yes.
drug parts is just there. But if you want to look at like the conflict that happens between different generations and then understanding how you navigate through those things, and then one choice lead to another choice, it leads to another choice, it leads to another choice, and then you be like, oh my gosh, I'm back at the same point. Please,
Mm.
please watch Ozark, because this is that type of show.
Yeah,
See?
I love the great job. And I think you're right. Like I was a fan of Walking Dead for a long time
Mm-hmm.
until I felt like it kind of jumped the shark there for at towards the end. But
Yeah,
but yeah, the zombie apocalypse, the robot apocalypse is just a tool by which to examine the human condition
correct.
and to examine and hold up a mirror to what is important to its main character. So what's the most important thing to Rick in Walking Dead? Well, it's his son. It's
Yeah.
his family. And
Mm-hmm.
oh well, what's the most important thing to Negan in Walking Dead? Well, it's holding on to power and being the alpha male in the room. And so Ozark is similar. You're right. Is the drug cartel, the seediness and the evil of drug smuggling and getting people hooked on drugs. Yeah, sure, that's apocalyptic. Is evil, is bad, but it's just a backdrop to help hold up a mirror to force people to ask, what do they really truly care about the most, and what will they fight for to care about the most? And this show goes through that.
Yeah.
It
It's easy.
is.
I want to say this. It's easy to think that we would do something totally different or the admirable thing given in those situations, but you never really know until you place in those situations to actually what you're capable of. And this
Mm.
show has you to think about that as well.
Yeah, and I think when we read scripture too, we read these hard verses, the parable. We like to see ourselves as the good Samaritan, but maybe not.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
probably the priest who walks on the other side of the road because I don't want to get dirty, or I'm going to get in trouble for doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, or I'll lose my job, or lose my pension.
Especially when I'm into a whole bunch of meetings after church. I'm like, I'm going home.
That's it. I need a nap. I need a nap. I'm hungry. You're gonna ask me some small question, and I'm hungry. I'm gonna get hangry on you and snap at you, and it's not your fault. I just have had a long morning. Right. So I think uh, watch this show. If language, sex, violence, murder, those kinds of things are triggering for you. If your faith steers you away from those kinds of things, R-rated movies or really really hard. There's some difficult things going on here. If that's something, then yeah, you don't need to watch this show. There's other things that can help guide you through that. But if you've watched Breaking Bad, if
Hmm.
you watch Walking Dead, if you've gone through those things, Ozarks is another way to kind of help guide you in this kind of drama to help examine. Of course, it's entertaining because you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? How are they going to get out of this? And what's the show is just, man, they nail.
Suspenseful.
The reason I still read comic books is that I love that last page that makes you go, oh, what's going to happen next?
Right,
I
right.
can't wait to see what happens next. This show, I think the TV show Lost did it, Breaking
Hmm.
Bad did
Hmm.
it, Walking Dead did it there for a while. This show, the final scene, uh, they you couldn't wait to hit next episode on it.
Hmm.
It could be 1 o'clock in the morning, and my wife and I look at each other and go, "Can we do one more?" She's like, "I gotta wake up in the morning, I
Right.
can,
Yeah.
can we do one more episode? Nope. Let's wait. Let's sit on this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's that type of bingeable show that goes through that. So so yeah, we hope you'll watch it. Now, here at this point, we're going to say spoiler warning. We're going to go into spoilers. We're going to go into the specific seasons and characters, and then talk about the ending and what we
Yeah.
thought about how this ended, because it is complete, and then go from there. So see you later for those who haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Circle
Take
back
care.
around. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. Bye.
Uh, Okay, welcome back to the spoiler edition. Here we are, part 2 spoilers. Maybe Josh can put a little sound effect in there to let people know where to pick up back. All right, so let's go through these seasons. We're not going to go through every episode, but all right. But we will talk a little bit about that pilot episode. Kino, set up episode 1. What is it that hooked you? What is happening to Marty Byrde that forced him to pick up his family and move from Chicago to the Ozarks?
So let's what really got me was when Marty was in his office watching that video of his wife
having an affair.
Yep, having an affair while talking to another couple, and then his friend Bruce comes. It's like, hey, sir, this is a business. This is a place of business.
Yeah, y'all. He's literally watching a video of his wife having sex with somebody else from a private investigator who's investigating, which I haven't thought. There's a lot of private investigators. He hired a private investigator. And that happened at the end, season 4. So he why did I make that connection? Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. So he hired a private investigator, discovers his wife's having an affair. He's watching the actual video of them doing it. And then while he's talking with a couple because he's a financial advisor, he's a hedge fund manager. He knows how to account and move numbers. He's good at his job. And he's literally watching his wife on his computer screen with them not looking at his computer. They're on the other side of the computer, but they can't see what he's watching, and his mind's somewhere else. And his friend came in and did that. Okay, that set up, and that's when I was like, okay, this is not this is not less bad than Breaking Bad. Like, what have you gotten me into, kid? But so that you set up his family dynamic right now.
Right.
And then go. Sorry, Kino.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So then you have Marty, you have Wendy, the wife, you have the kids, Jonah, and I can't think
Charlotte.
of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember all the stuff that happened, and it's been so long. But then you end up. So I'm gonna just go from the beginning to the tail end, almost the tail end, where you end up with Marty at a work site with Dale, and you're like, who is Dale, and why is Dale got a gun, asking them about the lady who stole the money out the register? What is this?
Yep.
What is this? Why is everybody so scared of Dale? And Dale is so calm and collected. And then he shot Bruce's girlfriend. Oh my gosh. He shot Bruce's girlfriend. So the first season ends with Bruce being killed, the other guys being killed, and Marty's almost going to be killed, but somehow, some way, he talks himself into convincing Dale that he could wash or launder the money into the Ozarks of which has more lakeshore than any other place in the entire world, the U.S. I can't remember. Was it world?
Yeah, it could be world. I mean, there's all these little fingers, and like if you look on the map, it's not a huge lake, but in terms of the nook and crannies of the Ozarks, the coastline, and these little kind of bends of the different lakes, it's a lot of coastline. Yeah.
So think about how it started, and then how it ended. Like him just dozing, and then we see the dynamics between the husband and the wife, and trying to push along and saying, listen, we got to move. Dale has told us we got to go. He said, if I don't see that for sale sign in your yard within 2 days, we got a problem.
Yeah, and he literally watches his coworker die and other people die. And Marty has such a, quick word, quick voice. Like he can talk himself out of anything.
You know what it actually is? You know what it actually is? Funny enough, he's able to disassociate very well.
Yeah.
Like but he can compartmentalize and think logically through some situations, which is what is actually funny enough, which is needed because I'm reading this book about family systems, which is needed when there's you need somebody who is cool-headed and logical when any stress or high stressful situation that come around that helps you think through that stuff.
Yeah, so he's talking his way out of being shot and killed and murdered, and said, "I can do this job even better, and I can make you even more money." And so he has to, and basically has to. I can't remember if he told Jonah and Charlotte what was going on yet. They just like, we
Not
got
yet.
to move to the
No,
Ozark. But
no,
Wendy
no.
knew. He's like, "Look, if we don't do this,
Right.
we're all going to die." And it's
So
the
we didn't.
Mexican drug cartel who's
Right,
going
right,
to
right.
come after
So
us.
we're thinking that Marty is just a regular guy, and then here's Dale from the cartel, and we like, wait, how did this? So you're laundering money for the cartel? Okay.
Yeah, and just like that, you're laundering money for the cartel, trying to just. And if you don't do your job, they're coming after you and your family.
They coming after you and your family. And so that is how the first season starts. And they're driving their way to the Ozarks from Chicago, where they've been most of their lives, all of their lives,
Yep.
to then drive to Missouri, to the Ozarks in Missouri that they've never been, and try to establish themselves by laundering $50 million that's already been laundered.
Yep.
He has to figure that out. And so, and you go to a small town. Well, it's small. They don't know you. You go to you. They don't know you. They don't know you from the Hill of Beans. You don't sound like them.
You're an outsider.
You are literally an outsider, and you trying to come in and trying to say that we can do something. We don't know you. We don't know you. That's my purse. I'm King of the Hill. That's my purse.
And that's an interesting thought too, that, man, you're helping me, Kino. Think like, yeah, this TV show is a lot about outsiders and insiders, and how do you get on the inside, and what the choice you to make. All the choices the birds make, don't just make it.
No, wait. It's not about outsiders and insiders. It's actually a great. If you start, and this is funny because I'm reading this book. It's actually just about family systems.
Yeah.
It is trying to understand that the system always wants to go back to homeostasis. It doesn't matter how it goes, the system wants to go back to homeostasis. So any change that you do, the system is going to push back. And that's exactly what happened with Ozarks.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it's not just the decisions that the birds make affect them, it affects everyone in the Ozarks and other family systems. So here in the Ozarks, when you finally settle into season 1, you not only have the Mexican drug cartel, but you also have the Snells, which is this farm family in the Ozarks who are running their own drug cartel at the Ozarks, and they're competing against the Mexican drug cartel about who has the bigger kind of hand in dealing out heroin and drugs and opiates in the Ozarks. And caught up within this are these little, we got a deli and a diner and houseboats, and then you have the Langmores. My favorite character, my favorite character in the whole thing, Ruth Langmore, who is this little feisty 19, 20-year-old something, who really is the matriarch of this family, because the rest of her family, her dad's in jail. She's got cousins who are strung out. She's got uncles who are deadbeats, all these kind of things. She's the one kind of holding this family together and would do whatever it takes to hold them together. But she bumps up against Marty Bird, and her life is never the same.
Never the same. Never the same. That when the birds flew in, the winds of change happened.
Yes.
Yeah. When, cause you have, so you got to think, if you come into a place where you've been there all your life, and then here comes somebody with, so let's go back. One of the episodes,
sure.
They finally make it to the motel. And they are the Marty and Wendy are trying to find businesses that they can launder the money through. And so he gives his whole speech in season 1 because he's teaching Jonah how to launder money, and then Jonah ends up laundering his own money, doing it better than Marty. Oh my God!
Right. Think about this. All right, let's pause there a minute.
Yeah.
Dad is teaching like. How old is Jonah, you think? Like 15, 16?
Jonah. So he has to be like 14, 15.
When the series starts.
When it starts, yeah. Because he's just a freshman in high school.
Freshman in high school. So, imagine yourself in high school. And I don't know if any of our listeners, their parents taught them how to launder money.
No.
But here is this guy. I mean, yeah, family systems. Go for it. I just want to pause and think that a minute.
Yeah. So he teaches his son how to launder the money. But they are trying to find cash-strapped businesses, and mainly cash-only businesses, to quote-unquote wash their money.
That's right.
However, because they are an outsider, nobody's really taking them up on their offer to invest in their business, even if their businesses are behind on their taxes or they're not making any money. They don't care. It's their
Right.
business. It is. This is my baby. This is my child. Why would I give that to you when I don't know you? You don't know anything about me. You come from the big city of Chicago and trying to come up in here to the lakes where we are happy where we are, and you
Right.
trying to just stir it up. We don't. Nope. So he has to convince these people that he is almost like them, but not like them. And that's the
Right.
funny thing. That. Then you know what? That's another thing that it points out is about class. It talks about class in here.
You're right.
The haves and the
Absolutely.
have-not. The haves and the
Mhm.
have-not. Those who have it, and then
Mhm.
the influences that comes with that, and then you being not having what you need, the necessities, and trying to figure out how to get it. It deals with all of that. Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop. Because I
No,
could go
that's
on.
good. Yeah, and not only dealing with like family systems, but also class and wealth and economics. And Marty, his character, straight shooter, cool and
Hey,
calm
Will.
and collected. Yeah,
Will. Funny enough, I got to say this. I have to say this. I have to say it because I'm proud of it. I
yeah,
have a
yeah,
bachelor's degree in economics.
yeah. That's awesome.
Listen, the outside of the family, the money stuff and the business. I was like, oh my gosh, this is interesting. Like I'm
Yeah,
always interested about numbers and stuff like that, and then
yeah.
looking at class systems and capitalism and all the other stuff how it works.
Hmm.
That's always fascinating my mind.
Yeah, this show can shed some light on that too, because eventually it gets into not only what's going on in the Ozarks drug cartel, but you also have the FBI
FBI.
chasing down. Of course, the FBI has this drug cartel on their most wanted list.
Mm-hmm.
Bird is now entangled with them, and so not only has he trying to launder money for the drug cartel to save his ass, but he's also like the FBI is breathing down his throat because they know what's going on and they see a new character in the game. Why are you here? What are you doing? So now has FBI investigating him,
Wait.
and then you have the,
Hey, wait.
yeah,
Hold on.
yeah. Okay, 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 okay.
Wait. We got to back up. So we
Okay.
find out, I think in season 1, that
Mm-hmm.
Bruce was working with the FBI
Yep.
for in order to get himself out of the cartel. What we also realize is that Dale suspected something was going on, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't know to what full extent until he started killing folks. And then they found out that Bruce was skimming $5 million from the
Right.
drug cartel, which you don't want to do. You don't want to just take money from them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
paying you enough money anyway to do your
Yeah.
job and to be quiet, and you feel like, but that's what happens with greed and money.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
always it taps into what's already in us.
Right.
That-
Right. So you saw the temptation that Marty's friend Bruce was having by go ahead and skimming off. I think I can get away with this, and that's what got him in trouble and killed in the first place. And then, but we have all these interweaving relationships. It's not just
Mhm,
one family. So you
mm-mm.
have the Langmores, you have the FBI, you have the drug cartel, you have the Snells, Darlene, and her husband Jacob.
The local police,
The local police are
the
there, and
sheriff,
the Snells are in with the corruption. The sheriff is overlooking what the Snells are doing with their drug ring and what's going on because they want to stay in the power. All these things, and I'll just say that this show, doesn't let you rest. It's like the minute that Marty's phone goes off, like every 5 minutes, some other crisis is going on. So he's looking at a text or answering a phone call that there is a crisis that he's got to get out of. It seems like every 5 or 10 minutes in every
right,
single episode throughout
right.
every single season. So that's what keeps you glued. You're like, oh my gosh, how's he going to get out of this? What is he going to do here? And he keeps talking his way out. He keeps
He
digging his own
does.
hole.
He
He keeps
does.
digging his own grave. He keeps like, how are you going to get out of this
Preach.
one? Yeah. So that is what is happening in this show. It keeps going on and on and on and on with that
So
kind of pattern.
and then the other thing that's interesting about this show is, and this is another thing about family systems, is that when you find and let's talk about the marital relationship. When you find that your spouse is spiraling or going through some stuff, that's where in sickness and in health steps in the
Yeah.
vows, because
Mm-hmm.
we see where Wendy comes in, and like we think Wendy, and I'm not trying to be funny, but Wendy Wendy evolved as a character in this whole thing.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And she became who she truly wanted to become at the end of this thing, which was to have some political influence, because that's all she really wanted to do. But we see her step up and try to hold the family together when Marty was spiraling after a crisis that he could not get over at the time. And it took him, I think it could have took him all of season 2 to get over it. No, because then he got kidnapped too.
We're laughing at what happens in the show. We're laughing because it's not funny. We're just laughing at like what the craziness that happened. I know it's so complex. You just reminded me, Kino, that you're right. In one of the seasons, he gets kidnapped by the drug cartel and taken and waterboarded and tortured, so they get stuff out of him, and then he goes back to Ozark and expected to kind of do his job. And
like nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
How do you move on from that? And
a lot of trauma.
Wait, was that before? That was before they. No, that was after he got kidnapped after the preacher. Remember? I can't think of the preacher's name.
Oh my gosh! The poor young preacher who was just trying to do it, and his wife was pregnant, and they literally kill her to take the baby. I mean, oh my gosh, y'all, this is biblical stuff going on. About about killing folks to get their baby and all that stuff. Yeah, there's a young preacher who had a houseboat church there in season 1. This is after that. Season 2, you kind of left wondering what happened to them. You know that they were all killed, and so they got this little baby around they're trying to take care of. And Darlene kills her own husband, and she takes over, and it gets wild. But at one point Marty gets brought to Mexico because Navarro wants to see him for his health. Who's working for him? Is he as good as he says he is?
Well, not only that, but I think because I was trying to finish it. I was trying to finish to get caught up. But I couldn't catch everything because every time you watch it, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, just this." But anyway, but remember that the issue was that Marty didn't trust Wendy because they were sabotaging each other when they was trying to build a casino, and he was tapping Wendy's phone, and Navarro got wind of that and was like, "Hey, what is happening here? What's really going on? Like, what's wrong with your relationship?"
When you have the head of the drug cartel bringing you in going, "Hey, I need to talk to you about your relationship with your family." Because he knows, I mean, it is pretty amazing because he knew how valuable Marty is. Yes. If he lost Marty, what's going on? So he needs Marty like in line doing his job. And all right, what's going on with you and Wendy? And at some point it comes back around where he has a conversation with the drug cartel. Head of the drug cartel has a conversation with Wendy. And it's like, oh, okay, you're pretty strong. Like, and for a while there, I thought he was going to hit on her. But there was something there in terms of like, how, can I trust you? What's going on with all this?
That's triangles.
Triangles. Well, let's go back to the Langmores a little bit. Ruth Langmore, my favorite character. They have this family who literally live in trailers on the coastline of the Ozarks, and they're trying to make it. At one point, they're working in a strip club. Another one, they're working in a diner. Marty hires her to bring her in. I forget how they got entangled, but they're in the same kind of neighborhood, and he ends up hiring her, right?
Wait, no. Let's talk about how they got. I remember this part.
Okay, go for it.
So Ruth is a cleaner at the motel.
Yep.
That at the end of the show she ends up buying, which I thought was awesome. And her 3 and Wyatt are her cousins that she take care of, and they are there. She's getting them jobs because they have nothing to do. And Ruth ends up stealing, I forgot how much money. Was it $250,000? I know it was a suitcase full of money.
Yeah.
It was a suitcase full of money, and she introduced that money to her cousins and her uncles, and Marty gets wind of it and finds them and tells them, in essence, you can't have this money because this money belongs to Navarro, and if Navarro knows that you got it, I'm dead and you're dead too.
Yep.
That's how we're introduced to Langmores.
Right. And the cousins, Ruth and her cousins, they're like brothers and sisters. They're so
Mm-hmm.
close.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt is her favorite, and they are very, very close. That has an effect that comes up in the final season.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and Ruth ends up getting a part of this. She's a feisty little thing, didn't put up with any BS.
Nope.
And because of like what she's had to deal with, like family trauma with her own dad and abuse and verbal abuse, and her dad's in prison, she's taking care of this family and doing whatever it takes, like the birds, doing what it takes to take care of her family.
Correct. Correct.
And so they get all weaved in with each other, and yeah, it gets complex as well.
Very complex. So all we're gonna say is that Ruth is one of my favorite characters too, because of her evolution, her growth, and her ability to adapt
Mm-hmm.
and to keep whatever because her objective with the whole entire time was to make sure her family was okay.
Yep.
But that was the same thing with the birds, though. That
Yep.
was the objective, is just to make sure.
And Navarro too. We come to learn that the drug cartel, he's got his own kids.
He got his own
He's
kids.
trying to think about it. He's got his favorite dog. He's got his family, and he by no means, he's not necessarily a redeemable person. What he's doing is evil, but it just goes to show that no matter what choices you make or how evil or bad or what you do, you still care for your loved ones, and you're trying to take care of your own.
Right. So that was Navarro's nephew, right? That was his nephew, Javier.
At the very end. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Because then we dealing with extent. Every time somebody was introduced into the family system, we saw chaos and hell. Let's just put it out. It was just chaos and hell. And it doesn't matter if once we saw Navarro's introduced, that was some more hell. No, let's back up. When we met Helen.
Oh, the lawyer for the drug.
The lawyer. Yep, because she was going through a divorce, and she had her 2 kids, and she was the lawyer for the truck.
She's season 3. She's in season 3, right? She's season 3.
2 and 3.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, I have to say this. It blew my mind that Navarro shot Helen in front of the birds. That when that ended in season 3, I was like, you cannot let this go right here. I was like you, Will. I had to Google to find out when was season 4 going to drop, because this cannot be the end, and you can't leave me like this. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're wrong for this. They are.
And there are shows, let's be honest, there are shows that sometimes get canceled because they're not making enough money. So there's cliffhangers. There's shows out there that we wished had an extra season because it led to clean. And as soon as, you're right. When Helen got killed and murdered, I immediately went to the internet and said, please, Lord, don't let this be the final episode. I need to know what happens next. But it was a moneymaker. It's been a huge moneymaker for Netflix, very popular. So they keep going. And even after season 4, the way it ended, the outcry was like, oh, you can't end it like this. You got to have another season. And Jason Bateman, who plays Marty Bird, was like, nope, we ended it. I have other projects. Maybe there'll be spinoffs later on down the road. Who knows, 5-10 years from now.
I think they should leave it alone. They should leave it alone.
They should leave it alone.
Yeah.
Well, let's, again, go and watch these episodes, these seasons. It gets complex. Every time you think someone's cool, you like them, be careful. They're probably going to die. They're probably going to die. If you feel like Marty cannot get out of this, he's going to get out of it. He's going to figure out a way. So that's kind of the pattern this show has. And you get to season 4 in this kind of climactic ending where it's not just the Ozarks, it's not just their family, but they have like global politics happening. FBI with like what happened, a civil war in Mexico. They're involved with the civil war of like the drug cartel is happening, and then there's also politicians, get this, who are trying to get in with to raise money and to help get the Navarro off the most wanted list so that they can get voting machines that would give them more votes because they're trying to win elections. There's voting fraud looming, present day politics looming and overshadowing what's going on in the show. So it's not just this family trying to stay alive, but everyone they come in contact, like you said, they experience hell. They lose people. They wreck every single person they come in. And Ruth even says, be careful of Marty, because everything he touches, he's going to destroy. Yep. And that's just because of what he's trying to do. And he had a way out. There, the FBI came to him and said, we will give you protection. We will put you. We give you a way out if you give us the names and the money, and you turn this over to us. We will put you into what do you call it? Like
Witness protection.
witness protection, and you and your family. And they decided not to go down that road.
Yeah.
They decided that nope.
Well,
They didn't trust it, or they just wanted to do their own thing.
So I say they didn't trust it only because that he would have to have plead guilty to a felony, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And if you got a felony on your record, you can't do anything, especially in finance, because Marty is a money guy. Yep. So if he wanted to stay in finance, he could never have taken a felony anything, because he wouldn't ever work again.
Yep. And Wendy had these kind of political aspirations of like wanted to move up to the top and be influential, not just there, but also in Chicago and all over the entire country.
In the Midwest. And she made moves. She made power moves just to get to what she wanted. I was like, wow. Okay. So are we going to talk about season 4 real quick?
All right. So season 4, real quick. The finale, broken up to 2 parts. It starts off season 4 with them driving down Happy Go family in a van, and all of a sudden they get T-boned, or a big truck like weaves into their lane, and they flip their car like 12 times. And then they flash back to like earlier. So you're like, what's going on there? So that was a little teaser at the beginning of the series. You're like, was that somebody did that on purpose, or what happened? Which, and then they jump into the season of what they're doing. Kino, what do you think the final season?
So I thought as a whole, the season brought closure to me, and I'm okay about how it ended. I like how everything progressed in that 4th season, especially with the Birds trying to navigate and negotiate between Navarro, the FBI, and the political scene in Missouri. Mm-hmm. And then how Ruth was still determined to wait. Was that the end of season? Was it in the season 3 that Darlene and Wyatt was killed?
No, part 1 of season 4.
Yeah, part 1 of season 4. Never mind.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So listen, I'm gonna say this. I was surprised that Darlene made it to the end almost, because she was a firecracker and a loose cannon that only Jacob could wrestle that wild Mustang, but even he couldn't, because he already said that she killed him. They were going. I gotta say this. They were going to kill each other. This is how it's interesting their whole relationship. They were plotting to kill each other on the same day. It's just that gosh, now I lost the woman's name.
Darlene.
Darlene. I was going to say Diane. Darlene just poisoned him, and oh my gosh, now my mind went blank again. Darlene and what's her husband's name?
Jacob.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yep.
Jacob, Darlene, and Jacob. So Jacob was going to stab Darlene. Darlene just poisoned him, gave him some ricin that you can actually make from the pits of cherries. That's exactly what she did, and she put it in his coffee, and she's crazy. And I thought that Darlene would have died in the 1st season or the 2nd season when they got shot up. The car got shot up, but no, she survived, and then she had this. Yeah, I was surprised.
Well, and for those who listen who never watched the show but want to hear us talk about it, like here's the crazy thing: Darlene, like maybe in her 60s, right?
Ain't no maybe about it. She's in her 60s.
She's in her 60s. I would even want to say older. I didn't know. I was 60s being generous in terms of how old she is. She starts dating Ruth's cousin Wyatt, who's like maybe 19, maybe 18.
He's 18.
He's 18.
I don't think he graduated high school. I don't think he graduated.
I know. So she's like engaged to Ruth's like cousin.
No, they get married. Remember, they get married.
They get married. They
got married.
So there's that too. And I can't believe she lasted that long either. But also the subtext here, we didn't talk about it. I won't talk about it long. But Wendy has a brother who has mental illness, who is him coming back into their lives was gonna kind of shipwreck and sabotage a good thing that they had going. Things were going smoothly until her brother, who has mental illness, came in, bipolar. He started dating Ruth, and they connected. And Ruth didn't understand how deep the mental illness was, but Wendy had her brother killed
Yes.
by the cartel to get him out of the way, and it was it tore her apart, but she had to do what she had to do to save her family.
Yes.
And so there's that. So Ruth is of course doesn't like them now, is on the outs with Marty and Wendy because of that. But then Wendy's dad comes into the scene in the final season, who's from Boone, North Carolina. Who they even have a shot in one of the shots about him back home of Main Street on Boone. They talk about Vallecrucis. They talk about Boone. They come to North Carolina, and he's real involved. I mean, obviously he's kind of a scumbag too. He deals with alcoholism, abuse. You definitely get the feel he's not been the best at his whole life, but he's a member of a church in a very kind of fundamentalist church. And and Wendy's very like, yeah, you can hide behind your church, but you have a lot of things that you need to own up to as well. And so of course he wants to find his son, but he's dead, and all that kind of happens in season 4. And eventually you get to the point where Wyatt is killed. Darlene Wyatt is killed by the Javier, which is the drug cartel's nephew. And oh man, and Ruth doesn't at the end of the first episode 7 and season 4, episode 7, the end of part 1. Ruth does an acting job of watching and seeing her cousin killed. One of the most amazing acting jobs. If she already has an Emmy for the show, I think. Okay. But if she doesn't get another one, it's a crime, because I've never been so moved watching a TV show, and so moved that I had to like watch a stand-up comedian after that show because I couldn't go to bed. It was haunting. And then you wrap up this season. I know we're getting a little long in the tooth, but we could talk about it forever, y'all. So the season wraps up. The whole show wraps up with Ruth killing Javier, the nephew of the drug cartel. And the Wendy and Marty are so close to having political power that they're almost in charge of the entire cartel. While Navarro's in prison, they put Marty in charge of the cartel down in Mexico.
Wait. That was before his sister. Remember the sister? Because Javier's mother came back into the picture. There's another family dynamic.
Another family dynamic. But there is a character in there. We're two ministers. We're priests, the geeks. There's a priest that shows up at the end of this season, and he starts asking some questions. I don't know the priest's name. I don't know if they reveal it or not. But he's kind of like this confessional spiritual advisor to Navarro, the drug cartel. And with Marty going down to Mexico to make the hard decisions, to make it look like he's in control, to make it look like everything's all right. But this priest is in the room, and he kind of represents the eye of God watching Marty. And he starts asking some questions about why. Why are you doing this? Is this satisfying? Is this really what you want to do? And so I really feel like it's interesting that the show wraps up when you go through all these systems, there's power systems, family systems, economic systems, human sexuality and relationships are all wrapped up in this series. And finally, at the very end, there's a priest with a black suit on and a white collar that's looking and says, why? What choices are you making? Is this worth it? That moved me, of course, being someone who wears a white collar every Sunday. Keenan, I don't know how you reacted to that. And did you see him as the watchful eye of God in that moment?
Yeah. It was interesting to recognize that Navarro was active in his faith. Because he had the priest was actually a part of the compound. That was his parish. And then to see how the priest began to act on behalf of Navarro, but also beginning to his mere presence change the dynamics of the whole series, because then again, like you said, you begin to notice everything that we've been doing up until season 4. It seemed like we were getting away with murder. literally a lot of folks got away with murder. But then here's this priest that
Mm,
represents the represents God in such a way that you begin to wonder, has all of this been for nothing?
mm,
Have I been really trying to save my family all because of a lie that I
mhm,
told
mhm,
that enmeshed and entangled everybody else that we came, all
mm,
because I didn't want to die. I was scared for my own life. And
mhm.
so yeah, so the priest introduced this concept of, is it really worth it?
Yep.
Is what you're doing validation, or is it bringing you the peace that no one could ever have?
Mm.
Because they were always concerned and looking over their own shoulders that somebody was out to get them at some point. I don't care. I don't care who you are. Listen, the sheriff got it. The FBI got. Everybody was looking over their shoulder.
Yep.
Nobody had peace except for that priest. Except for the
Yep.
priest.
You're right. That priest did have a kind of a non-anxious presence about himself.
Hmm.
And he ends up having another conversation with Wendy too. Like he shows up in the Burns house at some point and has this frank conversation with Wendy, who has a problem with religion, has a problem with her dad, has a problem because there's a toxicity there within the type of spirituality and church that she sees her dad as a part of. That her trust issues are non-existent because of how she's been treated in trauma in her life.
Hmm.
But the priest said something like, said, I went through these things too. I would have killed my parents. I would have killed my dad if I hadn't gone to church
Right.
and joined seminary. Well, Wendy finally decides a light bulb goes off. She has an epiphany and she goes to church, but a different kind of church. It's not a church with a steeple and stained glass. She goes to a mental institution and a health and wellness. Checks herself in. She checks herself in to a facility that's there to help get people back on track after mental breakdowns. And
Yeah, but
she
that was a power move though. That
it
was a
was a power move, but
that
notice
was
that's when she has her confession. She's in her confessional booth with
mm,
her kids. She's like, look, and she lays it all out. And it's the most
mhm,
honest we've ever seen her
mhm.
about
That's
she
true.
hates what she did to her brother.
That's true.
She
That's
hates like her dad is not the man you think he is.
that is
And we've done all this for you and for us. And I know what I'm doing with this politics is wrong. Her confession there in her church, quote unquote, is a very powerful speech. And you think that that's going to be a place where they start turning around a little bit. Maybe they'll start making some right decisions and turn this around. But they're faced with a final choice. And Kino, I'll let you chime in on what that final choice is.
So wait. So you had me when you
Yeah.
talked about confession. This had me to
Yeah.
think about this book I read called The Anatomy of the Soul.
Okay.
It was written by, I had to Google it. It's written by Dr. Kurt Thompson. And one of the things that he talked about that I think for folks, a lot of folks don't understand, and I'm gonna get to it,
Yeah.
is that confession restores broken relationships.
Yes.
It restores broken relationships, and then and what we believe is that once confession happens, it's followed by repentance, which is that you're saying that you're not doing that which you once did, that you confessed over, but you're turning and going in a different direction.
New direction. Yep.
New direction. And so by her doing that, it actually changed the dynamics of their whole family.
It did.
Because at the end, we are faced with wondering, who did Jonah shoot? Because it is the birds, it's the detective, and the goat is there, right? Is the goat not there too?
Just no goat. It's just the ashes of Wendy's dead brother in
Yeah.
in like a porcelain goat.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the porcelain goat.
The porcelain goat. Oh, he's present. That's right. Her dead brother is present in that circle.
He's present there in that circle.
And haunting them.
Yeah. And so it ends.
Well, before that.
Okay.
So the birds are one less. People can hear our enthusiasm. Maybe you've cut this off. You can just hear our enthusiasm on this show. So the birds have this major political fundraiser happening on their casino where it looks like things are going to all fall into place with Navarro's sister, who've taken over. The politicians who are in their back pocket are going to get some money. Even Ruth is helping them out. But what's looming over this is that Ruth killed Javier, and Javier's mom, Navarro's sister, is there at the party, and she's dying to know who killed her son. And she finds out, someone squeals on her, that Ruth is the one who did it.
No,
And
she
so
didn't. No. It wasn't just someone. It was the CEO of the drug
pharmaceutical company. Yeah, so we didn't even bring up, y'all, the pharmaceutical company that's in the back pocket of the drug cartel. Man,
that's selling opiates to everybody.
Selling opiates to everybody.
Buying heroin and selling opiates. Yes.
Yep. That's it. So yeah, that's a whole nother side I know we didn't even talk about. So they find out that Ruth, but the Byrds had a chance, or they were kind of in a hard place. Do they save Ruth, or do they risk their own lives to save Ruth, or do they just let Ruth get killed? And Ruth is dressed in all white. She goes back home. Her Javier's mom, Camilla, Navarro's sister, meets her there. She's in all black, so it's like this Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader moment. It's like a yin and yang. It's a good and evil, however you want to attach it. But Ruth is the one who dies at the end. And I was wondering if she was going to make it to the end, or if she was going to get killed, or if it was the Byrds who were going to get killed. But Ruth was the one who was the final murder, unless you get to the final scene and Jonah takes out a gun and it goes black and you hear a gunshot and you don't know who he actually killed. You think he killed a detective, but man, he's been mad at his mom a long time.
And my suspicion is, my friend and I have been arguing, I think Jonah killed his mama. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to put it out there because ever since, and this is why I realized their relationship changed when she lied to him about Ezekiel. Yep. When she lied to him, he decided then he can't trust anything his mother says ever again.
And he was pretty close with Ruth. And if he knew that Ruth died and that she was the one who got it,
right? Yeah. So that's just my thoughts. Is that I just saying that Jonah killed his mama. I don't.
Well, in kind of a Soprano style or other show style, it does go black and you hear a gunshot and and you're left guessing what Jonah did with that gun and what happened next. Did he shoot? I don't think he shot his sister. I doubt he shot his dad. It could be his mom. It could be the detective there who was going to bust him no matter what.
Or he could have shot the goat. He could have shot. Is it Ben?
Yeah.
Ben. He could have shot Ben. I don't think he shot Ben. I don't think he shot. Yeah. It's either the detective or his mother, and I'm just gonna say his mom, just to be contrarian. I just want.
There you go. I like that. That's good. Alternate realities, and you could what if this. We've been on a few what if episodes. Kino and I have been on talking about what if, and you could do some what ifs in this show. Pretty much every episode. What if they'd done this differently? How would their lives be different? But as you can tell, y'all, we really love this show and we geeked out hard. A lot of this just Kino and I having a chance to talk about it together on air in public. So you guys can overhear our thoughts on it. Amazing show, amazing writing, amazing directing, a great soundtrack. There are times when I had to look up the song, a lot of Radiohead and other songs. I was like, what is that playing? That is moving. And I loved it to the end. And there were fans out there, internet reactions. How could you do that? How could you kill Ruth? How could you do this? How could you do that? We need another season. But I think, and I are on the same page that, it ended the way it did, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see another spinoff. I don't want to see Jonah as the next Marty Byrde down in Mexico laundering money for the drug cartel.
No. I'm okay with the closure that they presented. I'm okay. I'm okay with seeing blackout, the gunshots, and then suspecting. That's fine because at the end you see that the Marty was able to save his family.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we talked
oh my God.
Theology and God in the midst of all these things. And again, this isn't like your normal kind of like geeky thing like at Comic-Con. Nobody's going to cosplay Wendy or Marty at Comic-Con. I hope not.
I hope not.
But someone might cosplay Ruth. She's a character, man. She could be a good character. But I, in terms of is there the theology of a parable, a cautionary tale of making right and wrong decisions, and of family systems, as you said, Kino, of economic systems, class and classism, politics is all there, and the Bible is full of that too. In the midst of it, God is present. God is guiding and leading. God doesn't fix all of it. God puts a lot of things in our own hands and says, all right, I'm entrusting you. That's the mystery of this, messiness of life that we're all a part of, that God entrusts stewardship of earth and relationships with us. And God intervenes. God is there. God is present. But a lot of us, it's up to us and the decisions we make too. And that makes an impact moving forward. So quick ratings out of 1 out of 10. What do you judge this show?
10.
Yeah.
10.
Yep.
10. It's one of those. It's one of those shows that I will rewatch over and over again just to put myself back in that setting, that mode of being suspenseful and like, oh my gosh, can't believe this, can't believe that. Yes, this is one of those great shows.
Yeah, I'm there right with you. It's hard to give things 10.
Correct.
So I'll give it a 9.78. A 9.78 from me. Okay. What it is good. Awesome. Well, let's wrap this thing up. I forgot to at the beginning of the episode, but hey, if you want to know more, you want to reach out to us, you want to ask questions, you have a different take of how this thing ended or things that excited you, reach out to us on our website, systematicecology.org. And then we're on the social media stuff as well. Hit us up on Patreon, support us so we can keep doing episodes like this and perhaps show up at Comic-Cons or do live podcasts with one another. We might have Systematic Ecology Con at some point in the future. If you got discretionary income and want to donate, some money that has a lot of zeros behind it, we'll do a systematic ecology convention.
Yeah.
I can promise you that. Yeah. Kino, as we wrap this thing up, what are some recommendations that you have? Anything out there you recommend to folks?
I have nothing.
Okay.
I have nothing because I'm currently reading these books, so I haven't really watched anything except for Ozark, for real, like literally.
Well, I think you made the one about confession. I think that's important. We're in the Protestant kind of on the Protestant end of the spectrum when it comes to the Christian family, and so we don't necessarily have confessional booths, but people come to us and share things. But there's a healthiness. We start each worship service with a corporate confession, being honest with God and one another that we're all fallen creatures. So, what's the name of that book again about confession? You were saying you read
The Anatomy of the Soul. Kurt Thompson. Kurt Thompson is the author.
Good recommendation.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
My recommendation is, I geek out on comics and Star Wars and all those things, but I also geek out on surfing. I've been surfing my whole life and love it. And here we are getting close to summer. The water's warming up, and there's a show on Apple Plus called Make or Break.
Okay.
And it is a documentary of kind of behind the scenes of the World Surf League. The WSL is like the NFL or the NBA of surfing. They go around the world and have a surf tour, and at the end of the year they crown a world champion, whoever has the most points and all this stuff. And there's a documentary. I watch every contest that comes on. You can live stream it, whether they're in Tahiti or Australia or Hawaii. You can pull it up on the computer and watch the contest. But this is on Apple Plus called Make or Break, and they go behind the scenes of like the surf tour. And so if you know anything about surfing, they'll help explain it to you. Go watch it. It's a lot of fun. I guarantee you'll like that show, and the drama of these people trying to make a living surfing is pretty fun.
That's what's up. Check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, check it out. All right, this has been super fun. And remember, you all, share the faith, share the geek.
This was an Anazao Ministries podcast. If you enjoyed this show and would like to learn more about our network, be sure to check out the Anazao Ministries podcast network.